All right, welcome to the Big Hard Fact on 99.3 Nigeria Info. And today I'm going to be talking about something that keeps me up at night. I know you guys think it's politics that keeps me up at night, but this keeps me up at night, because I've lived in a state where you woke up in the morning and then you wiped your face, it was black. You cleaned your nose, it was black. Under your feet, black. Particulate matter, that's what they called it. I mean, the scientists have a name for everything. And this was because these things were getting into the atmosphere and we were exposed to it. And God knows what kind of diseases people are generating, or rather developing, as a result of that particulate matter in the air in River State. But I've also lived in a place where for years we had an untapped rainforest. For years, until a madman became the governor and started cutting off all our trees. These things keep me up at night. I also worry about the fact that, we want to do net zero on this and that, but we're flaring gas with reckless abandon. I'm beginning to sound like a preacher now. I'm beginning to sound like my guest, actually. But I'm not the guest. My guest is here today to talk to us about climate change, but most importantly, greenhouse gases and the pollution that we have in our atmosphere and how it could be killing us and killing our environment. My guest is Dr. Nnimmo Bassey. Surprisingly, Dr. Nnimmo Bassey is an architect. That's the one you went to school to learn. But he's found himself trying to save Mother Earth and also educating us on the importance of saving Mother Earth. Dr. Bassey, so good to have you join us. I don't think I've spoken to you in years. But happy New Year's.
Yeah, it's got to be a long time ago, but I'm happy to hear that some things keep you awake at night.
Yeah, it does keep me awake at night. And that's why we're having this conversation in the first place. Let's just leave the politics for a bit and talk about, what affects us, the air that we breathe, and, if this place we call Earth is going to be able to stand for the next 500 years. But to the average person who's listening to us, they're wondering, how does this affect the price of Gary and egg now? What's the meaning of this conversation? Why is it necessary for us to be in touch with Mother Nature? Let me start with that.
Yeah, actually, it would be a mistake to think that climate change doesn't affect the price of Gary in the market. It may not affect it directly, but it does have impact. Because the changes we're seeing do affect food production. And so everything is being impacted. And the whole issue of living well, being healthy, having an environment that keeps you healthy, keeps you happy, keeps you relaxed, helps to cool you down, not just in terms of temperature, but in terms of moving anxieties and worries. These are all part of what we should be worried about, what you should be concerned about. This is why it's necessary for us to live in harmony with nature. Nature is our mother, and if we treat her right, she treats us right also. If we are rough with her, destroy, as you said, a madman comes around, cuts all the trees, then of course the trees would, whatever is left will cut us down. That's just a tragedy. This is why we should all be very concerned about the quality of environment in which we live in.
You and I had a conversation about, I just wanted to talk about, why is the sun so hot? Why is the rain, when it falls in the middle of this hot sun, is so heavy and it's destructive? But then you talked about something that's very important. In fact, when I first heard about greenhouses, I was thinking that, that was a beautiful thing. It was going to help us to conserve, the green nature. But then I'm beginning to understand that there's some pollution that comes from greenhouse gases. Explain to us how that works, please.
Okay. Greenhouse gases are the center of the conversation, center of why we're seeing all the things, the dramatic changes we're experiencing. The way nature has arranged things is that our Earth is just like a ball floating in space. And around it is a layer of greenhouse gases naturally there that helps to maintain a balance in the temperature that keeps us comfortable. So what that layer does is that when the sun rays hit the Earth, the Earth reflects them back into space. So if everything escaped to space, then the Earth will be too cold. because every heat that comes will simply go back. But that layer of greenhouse gases in the atmosphere helps to send back a measure of the radiation instead of letting everything escape. And so that is like wearing, in a warm weather, if you want to sleep at night, if you don't have air conditioning or whatever, if it's a bit cool, you could use a simple wrapper and you keep warm. But now what has happened is that over the years, since the Industrial Revolution, polluters, the burning of fossil fuels in particular, has added much more carbon in the atmosphere than is necessary. And so we have a thick blanket. It's like you are in a dry season and you take two blankets over your body when you go to bed. You don't have air conditioning. You're going to sweat and you're going to be uncomfortable. So the greenhouse gases have placed a thick blanket over the earth. So when the sun rays hit the earth, a whole lot of it tries to escape, but it's sent back to the earth. This is what is causing this discomfort that we're having. It's not that the sun is getting hotter. The sun is not, I don't think the sun is getting hotter. It's just that more of the heat is kept sent back to the earth and no way to escape. So this is what is going on. And the sensible thing should be that now that we know that this is a situation, then we should not increase the amount of greenhouse gases we have in the atmosphere. But are we stopping that? No.
Example of these greenhouse gases that you are saying we're still allowing to escape into the atmosphere. Can you point us to them and where do we even start to curb them? Because I know that there's going to be a policy aspect to it and of course a lifestyle aspect to it. But let's start with the example of these greenhouse gases that are that we're allowed to go into the atmosphere.
Yeah, okay. Now go back to what you said earlier. When people hear about greenhouse, I mean, it's a beautiful thing. So we're going to grow tomatoes, grow apples. And some people in temperate regions, cold regions some people are happy, I'm sure, that they can grow things that used to grow in the tropics because temperature is getting hotter. So the tropics, the kind of weather we have is moving further up the latitudes. Now, the greenhouse gases, the ones that are most responsible for the heating up of the earth, but no longer global warming, this global heating. Everything is heating up. Maybe it can become global burning, not just warming.
God, I beg.
Yeah, well, I agree with you. I say amen to that. So, we're having carbon dioxide is one, carbon monoxide is another one, and methane is another. These are critical, and there are many others. Nitrogen oxide, all kinds of other things going up in the atmosphere and just piling up and sending back the radiation to us. It's the folly of humans. But we think that we can live without responsibility and without accountability, and that because something is easy, so we keep on doing it. And something seems to give us what we want. So even when we know it's going to affect us negatively, sometimes we think, well, it's not going to be us, maybe our children or children's children's time. A lot of people don't care. That's why when you mention net zero, the net zero is not today. They talk about net zero by 2050, by 2060, by 2070, when some of the players will not be around. So that they're putting the targets and intergenerational irresponsibility for children and children's children to suffer. And they would not be here to answer.
Wow. Let's talk about policy now, because I always like to throw jabs at the government in terms of when we go on to these world stages. We're very quick to append our signatures to all of these environmental treaties here and there. But when it comes to actionable plans and being the political will to push and drive it, you don't see it. The reason why I mentioned what I mentioned at the beginning is that Costa Rica used to have one of the most beautiful and untapped rainforest back in the day, and UN Red used to pay us a certain amount of money for preserving that rainforest. And then of course a so-called professor became governor and ran mad and cut off the trees and said he was going to build a I don't even know, a super highway, a spaghetti highway, some stupid thing. And so we lost that untapped rainforest. And of course, before him, there was a governor who made sure that for every house you built and cut down a tree, you planted two. It was a policy. But then I think that we've lost sight of all of those things. How are we supposed to, where do we start on the policy level to deal with these issues?
Yeah. Fortunately for the world, I would say that climate change has been recognized as a global issue. And in fact, it has to be tackled at that level, global level, because there's historical responsibility from the rich industrialized nations who pumped in all these greenhouse gases we're complaining about into the atmosphere. And they should do much more to help tackle that issue. Number one is they should stop polluting, stop contributing more to the what is termed carbon budget. Less than 20% of the space that you can put greenhouse gases is still remaining in the atmosphere. And so the question is, who takes that space? Do we take up that space? And if so, who and how quickly? And so there's that global policy issue. Unfortunately, each time the world meets at the Conference of Parties on climate change, we're seeing progressively governments are getting retrogressive. They're moving backwards. They set the target, but they don't do the things that will meet that target. And this is across the board, not just one nation, not just Nigerian government. After a Nigerian president proposed that he was going to plant 25 million trees, that was in 2019, but he left office, he never planted even one tree. He didn't plant even one tree. He went to the UN to boast that he would plant 25 million trees. That's what the whole nation, if you get all the youths to plant one tree in a week, 25 million would not be up to a day before we plant 25 million trees in Nigeria. Absolutely. So there are policies to be taken at global level, at national level, and also for individual responsibilities. But all this must be done at the same time to have a hope of maintaining a temperature, the global temperature that is something that humans can tolerate or survive on.
Okay, let me leave the policy level a bit and come back to us, you and I, because when you talk about getting governments to, not renege on some of these treaties that they've appended their signatures to, it boils down to us, the people. For example, there was a hue and cry when the government of Lagos State banned, styrofoams and, non-recyclable plastic, single plastic. There are also those who have continuously lived with, like you said, that carefree attitude of open defecation and doing all kinds of things and not, worried about how it goes into the atmosphere. What do you think the awareness level is in Nigeria? And I'm talking about down to the communities as to how bad our atmosphere is and the roles that we play. Is there enough awareness, or we only talk about it when it's World Environment Day?
Two ways to look at that. First of all is that at the community level, everybody knows that things are not what they used to be. They know that it's getting hotter. They know the rainy season is no longer predictable. And they know that they're having challenges cultivating their farms and their crops. But they may not articulate it as climate change. The terminologies, the conceptions are different. They just see what is going on is different, and they're wondering what's really going on. But then there are many people who know what is going on, and they're not ready to change. So there's a need for conversations between the grassroots and policy making. This has to come together. And I think the media provides a very good platform for this to happen. Nigeria has energy transition plan. How many community people are aware that we have that? Where has the conversation gone? When Lagos State banned single-use plastics, I was personally very excited because I thought that was long overdue. There are much poorer countries who have banned this and they're doing well. If you go to some countries in Africa and you go to a supermarket or shopping mall to buy anything, if you want to use a plastic bag, you have to pay for it.
Yeah.
And if you have to pay for it, then you know that you're going to think before next time you go with your own bag from home. Our mothers used to go to the market with particular bags or baskets, and they keep using that. And these are the kind of logic and the kind of attitudes and the kind of actions that can help us reduce the amount of the harm we are doing in our environment. But whenever I visit Lagos Lagos in particular, because they ban single-use plastic, I still find that even a bar is wrapped in plastic. When you want to eat in the restaurant, they wrap it in plastic, a single-use plastic. You can't use that plastic anymore. You just tear it and that's the end of it. Apart from the fact that you are creating a problem, you're also poisoning yourself. Because wrapping food in those hot food in those plastics actually puts a lot of things into the food that you don't even know you are consuming.
No way.
And so you are not, I'm telling you, are not only eating poundo or eating a bar, you are eating plastic. That's the sad thing about it.
Wow.
And so when I go to hotels, I tell them, look, don't wrap my food in plastic, just bring it in the dish. I'm happy with that. And hotels have to find way. They have to, everywhere on the streets, everywhere, even the pure water and the plastic water, you have these things that are kept out there in the sun for ages before they are sold. It's really a problem, and we need to. I think the Lagos State government needs to really mount up, intensify advocacy to get people to know not just that. It's not just that the government wants to ban plastic so that manufacturers don't lose income. It's because we need to protect ourselves. So the diseases we're having, we do not know exactly where they're coming from. But there's very many things, lifestyle that we've thrown away lifestyle and use of plastics for things instead of using leaves and using other kinds of plates.
And we used to use these things. We used to use leaves, and if you go to Southeast Asia, half the time, most of these people use leaves to eat. They eat from these leaves, and you look at it and think it's primitive, but that's how they protect themselves. And just telling me about this Eba thing now, my brain is going in different directions. But again, I want to continue pressing you on this issue of community engagement, because it looks like we wait on government officials who necessarily may not be interested in that. They're running after their money from federal government or whatever else. But what about us on a one-on-one basis? There are few people in communities who have an idea of what's happening in the environment. What is the level of engagement on that one-on-one level, as opposed to waiting for government officials to carry it out?
I think there's a lot of conversations going on. It's one of the things I do on a very regular basis. Myself and my team, my organization, we do a lot of work in communities, having conversations about climate change, about what they can do, what we can all do together, and also how to deal with the impacts that we're facing in terms of physical and also cultural impacts we're having, because climate change affects not just our physical well-being, but also cultural resilience. And so the things we are losing, there are many communities who have lost their coastlines because of sea level rise, because of coastal erosion. And some of this has been exacerbated by canalization by oil companies, for example, bringing salt water system into freshwater system, destroying mangrove forests. Mangroves absorb more carbon than most other trees. And so it's just a buffer, not just about stopping coastal erosion, but also keep cooling the planet. And so we're also talking with communities about the kind of agriculture, instead of depending on artificial fertilizers that destroy soils, release greenhouse gas to the atmosphere, use organic fertilizer, things that people can make by themselves.
Like cow dung.
Like cow dung, yes. Like cow dung, yes, you are right. And like there's some other to use leaf, that the neem tree. The neem tree gives you can use the leaf as insecticide. You can also use it to make fertilizer for your planting. And so those and using generally working with nature as you produce food. That helps to maintain diversity of food crops, helps to maintain soil cover, and helps to cool the planet, because all these sinking, they take the carbon out of the atmosphere. So there are things that sometimes we go to communities, they may not articulate what we're doing, but they are taking action that actually help the planet. They are feeding us and they're cooling the planet, and we are not supporting them. This is the big challenge. This is the big tragedy. Because when government thinks about agriculture, for example, they talk about industrial agriculture. They say, we've been using hose for too long. We cannot keep on using hose. Of course, we're not saying we should keep on using hose, but let's have technology that is adapted to our system. This is why we have research institutions. This is why those institutions we funded to produce things that work in line with our environment, with our culture. Because for us, the colonialism brought this idea of cash cropping. Cash cropping is colonial, it's not natural. We should be cropping for food, not for cash. I mean, cash comes in, yes, of course, it can be a business, but the mentality of cash cropping promotes monoculture and plantation agriculture. And all these, they really create a lot of harms. So I think one of the things we need to do, communities, is really sit down and learn. There's a lot of wisdom in villages, a lot of wisdom at the community level, but, we don't really lay much emphasis on that. We don't, we go sometimes people go to communities, they go to give lectures instead of going to learn. Instead of being humble enough to learn from that unschooled in quotes, old lady or old man in the village who has lived, who knows how best to get some things done in a way that is healthy and gives you. Recently, I was in a village. They brought a drink made with millet in a bowl. I mean, that was really, I would say, cool. Although I'm not given to taking too much of that kind of stuff. But somebody else would have said, okay, you get a bottle, get something that's from the brewery or something. That is much better. That is, but we need to look at what is really good for us. I think that's where the conversation starts. It's about everything.
A lot of people would say, "Oh, these environmental activists, you're telling us to go back to the Stone Age and start eating from clay pots and cooking." I'm saying this because I've seen advertorials about some of these so-called non-stick pans that actually whatever you're cooking in it is soaking in some deadly materials into the food that you eat and causing some cancers for us, as opposed to the pots that our parents used or great-grandparents used back in the day to cook in the village. And we still see some new age restaurants coming up with the clay pot idea or again, which seems to be a lot more safer. But what would you say to that new generation know-it-all person who thinks that you're trying to drag us back to the Stone Age?
Well, that's one thing that I hear a lot. Sometimes people call us anti-development, anti-progress. Some even go as far as saying that we're terrorists. When you campaign against genetic engineering, for example, so how are you going to feed Nigerians if you don't use genetic engineering? But genetic engineering has been around for about 30 years. It hasn't reduced poverty. It hasn't reduced hunger in the world. So clearly, and it rather is creating problems, creating super weeds, super bugs, and all kinds of things. But yes, I think people are just being. We need to learn what is good in our system. We need to learn that we cannot do certain things, continue in certain pathways without creating real serious dislocations in the way we live, in the way we feel, the way we relate to one another. And what has also happened, one way I understand the situation is that the way we relate to nature, the way we think that those things that are natural are not good, is where we relate to one another. So we have unnatural relationships with each other. And that ruptures the natural bonding that we ought to have. I mean, there's a restaurant in Lagos, I'm not advertising them. They said they pounded yam in leaves, they wrapped in leaves.
Oh,
maybe you know them.
That's lovely.
Yeah, they have all over Lagos, the Ikeja, Lekki, all those kind of
Oh, I
places.
have an idea. Yes.
And you can find them online if you want. And I remember when I was growing up, you want to drink water, you go into the room where the big pot is.
Yes.
And you fetch the water.
I saw it in my grandmother's house. Yes.
The water is so cool, and it's a flavor from the clay pot.
Yes.
The flavor, you drink the water, you have a memory of when you drank something.
I know.
Not the one you drink from. You drink pure water, you don't even know what you drank.
Because really, it does retain the taste of the plastic, whether we believe it or not. Unfortunately,
it does.
I wonder why we just did away with those clay pots. I remember my dad's father's house. We had that clay pot somewhere in the kitchen, our very nice state-of-the-art kitchen, but we had it. It was just there, and as kids, you just loved taking water from there because it was cool. It tasted really lovely.
Yeah,
What's going to happen to all of that? Oh, my goodness. When I come back, because we're going to go on a quick break. When we come back, of course, what must we do now while we wait on government? Or should we pressure governments more to make this front and center? Because, of course, we're also in, an age of development and revolution and all kinds of researches that have brought about technologies here and there. How do you slow down that and say, well, no, let's slow down that and go back to the basics? I mean, of course, there's going to be a war between us and them. But when we come back from the break, we'll talk about that. And of course, Lagosians have questions and they will be asking. Dr. Nnimmo Bassey is with us on the Big Hard Facts, and today we're talking about greenhouse gases and the pollution in the atmosphere. In case you're wondering why the sun is hot, now you know. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
On the Morning Crossfire with me, Kofi Bartels. You have the big names, the most pressing issues, and the sharpest conversations.
We must leave that place of talking into the space of doing.
Nothing are paying through their nose, and you are telling them after training they can't migrate. I will not be part of those who will give soft landing to these guys who are running the affairs of this country.
People are dying every day. In an hour, people just go in and come out and read out stories to us. Come on, Kofi.
We must step beyond the talk. We have the analysis.
Join us as we dissect the headlines, bring you exclusive interviews, and dive deep into the heart of the matter. The big conversations live here.
Join Kofi Bartels on the Morning Crossfire, weekdays 5 a.m. to 9 a.m. only on 99.3 Nigeria Info.
Madam, you don't try this new Lush Hair 4-in-1 no lie relaxer kit. We get free neutralizing shampoo and conditioner join.
What? Me, I know deal.
You not even sabi wetin dey happen for town. You see this Lush Hair relaxer so?
E no dey pepper, e no dey burn. E go even make your hair shine like oil.
Na so, Lush Hair relaxer kit na correct. We no go make your hair cut. We no go make your hair dry. E no dey pepper and e dey relax hair well. Come buy your own.
Lush Hair. Be beautiful.
Every parent wants to see their child growing up happy and healthy. Introducing Renzo Vitamins for Kids, a secret to your child's daily nutrition and boundless joy. With Renzo Vitamins, your child will have the energy to embrace every moment and unlock their full potential. Give your child a head start in life with Renzo Vitamins for Kids, because a happy child is a healthy child.
Start your day and have a good time. Kivo Crema. Where you need to have the break time. Kivo Crema. If not tea, Papa Garita. Kivo Crema. Kivo Crema.
Allah Akbar. Happy Ramadan Kareem. The holy month of Ramadan has brought lots of blessings, and it's time for you to enjoy while your dream of owning a landed property comes to reality. With Adro Ramadan Peace Offer, you will enjoy 30 to 40% discount on any land purchase this season, with as low as 50,000 naira to 1 million naira initial deposit and spread the balance between 24 to 36 months. You will also get gift items like bag of rice, gas cooker, refrigerator, shopping voucher for food hamper, and many more. Terms and conditions apply. Our estate locations are Lagos, Ogun, Oyo, Osun, Ekiti, Abuja, Nasarawa, Niger, and Jos. For more inquiries, please call
080-3466-7286 or 080-6542-4629.
Adron Homes.
Building cities, communities, and homes.
Are you ready to elevate your Ramadan experience? Well, brace yourselves, because Electromat has an irresistible offer just for you. From March 15th to April 20th, Electromat is here to make your Ramadan preparations a breeze. Buy any home appliances and receive instant gift: rice, oil, semolina, noodles, seasonings, and much more. Ready to take advantage of this amazing offer? Visit the nearest Electromat store or head to our website on www.electromat.com.ng now and start shopping. Stay tuned for more exciting offers only from Electromat, your world of electronics. Terms and conditions apply.
Everyone says I'm beautiful and bold. They say I'm fashionable, and to crown it up, very confident. And my secret is...
People say I'm good looking, funny, hardworking, and to crown it up, very confident. And my secret is...
So whether in the office or at home,
in the streets or on the dance floor,
anytime, any day, I never lose my confidence. And the secret to my confidence is Wazobia perfume.
Absolutely. Wazobia perfume gives the authenticity and long-lasting fragrance all day. That's my secret confidence.
Wazobia perfume is available in body spray.
Also available in supermarkets and markets near you.
You can also get it on Jumia.
Wazobia perfume, the correct scent.
Here's an amazing opportunity for your child to win 1 million naira, laptop, 1 year free data, cool hoodie, and other exciting prizes in the System Specs 2024 Children's Day Essay Competition. The competition is open to children aged 9 to 16, and the essay topic is protecting the Nigerian child from the dangers of online technology. Hurry now to bit.ly/2024 essay for more information. Entry closes on April 19th, 2024.
Every morning, na better chance to carry your hustle go higher level. So, make you start your day with the correct taste of Nescafe. Start strong, finish strong. Nescafe.
Compressed natural gas. Now the fuel oh yeah, better for your car, better for your pocket and your environment. Better energy for car owner. Obonga fuel for transporter. And say,
my people, renewed hope don dey shele. Compressed natural gas (CNG) na the way. This one not be for cooking, na to put for your car. It dey cheaper than petrol and diesel. It dey burn clean and run smooth. You know they contaminate engine oil with yama lie with CNG as well. Your motor go badwam, your pocket go like your environment self go enjoy am. So therefore, forward march go any certified conversion centers when near you for Lagos, Abuja, Ogun, Kaduna, Rivers, etc. Go convert your vehicle to use compressed natural gas (CNG) now. CNG, cheaper fuel for better living.
Are you ready to elevate your Ramadan experience? Well, brace yourselves because Electromat has an irresistible offer just for you. From March 15th to April 20th, Electromat is here to make your Ramadan preparations a breeze. Buy any home appliances and receive instant gift, rice, oil, semolina, noodles, seasonings, and much more. Ready to take advantage of this amazing offer? Visit the nearest Electromat store or head to our website on www.electromat.com.ng now and start shopping. Stay tuned for more exciting offers only from Electromat, your world of electronic. Terms and conditions apply.
Attention drivers in Lagos, are you ready for rewards? InDrive is giving out 10,000 naira fuel vouchers to 1,200 new drivers. Download the InDrive app, sign up to drive, and take 25 rides in the following 2 weeks before May 25th.
The start date is counted as the moment driver registers, and there is only one price per person. The InDrive online passenger transportation aggregator is not a taxi service. Find more information at www.indrive.com.
Some call it a disorder, a disability. Having a skin with two distinct colors may seem to others like the end of the world. Not me. I'm a babe, a speck, a 10 out of 10. Be unstoppable, be beautiful with Lush Hair.
Lush Hair. Be beautiful.
On the Morning Crossfire with me, Kofi Bartels. You have the big names, the most pressing issues, and the sharpest conversations.
We must leave that place of talking into the space of doing.
Muscles are paying through their nose, and you are telling them after training they can't migrate. I will not be part of those who will give soft landing to these guys who are running the affairs of this country.
People are dying every day in an hour. People just go in and come out and read out stories to us. Come on, Kofi.
We must step beyond the talk. We have the analysis.
Join us as we dissect the headlines, bring you exclusive interviews, and dive deep into the heart of the matter. The big conversations live here.
Join Kofi Bartels on the Morning Crossfire, weekdays 5 a.m. to 9 a.m. only on 99.3 Nigeria Info.
Welcome back to your number one talk, news, and sports station. This is Nigeria Info.
Nigeria Info.
Millions of listeners trust us on Hatchback. Whether it's politics, social issues, controversies, and trending stories, you know we're credible and objective.
It's Hard Facts with Maryann Okon on 99.3 Nigeria Info.
It's the nation's number one talk news and sports radio station, 99.3 Nigeria Info. We're broadcasting live from our audiovisual studios right here in Nnimmo Crescent, Victoria Island, Lagos. And it's the big hard facts. My name is Maryann Okon. My guest, Dr. Nnimmo Bassey, an environmental activist, obviously, here with us to help us make sense of what we're feeling, what we're experiencing. And it's not that the gates of hell have been opened up on us. It's also not that the guy that's in charge of the furnace forgot some part of the window. It's our reality. The truth is that the things that we're doing that we need to stop doing, and the things that we're not doing that we need to start doing. And that's why we're having this conversation. Dr. Bassey, I did ask about the guys who are interested in new technology, the guys who are bringing new inventions. And like you said, no more hoe and machete farming now. You need to, do the big tractors and all of those other things that I introduced that may not necessarily be. For example, I remember the first time I bit into a modified tomato in New York. Yes. And for lots of people, oh my God, it's genetically modified, blah, blah, blah. But how healthy is it? Is it good for us? Can we continue to do that? But then the truth is, there are so many, like you said, things that are happening to us that we don't know where it's coming from. The rate of cancers in the world today is inexplicable. The fact that we're still unable to be able to find a cure to some of these diseases is also something that we need to that should make us revert to nature, as you said. But how do you deal with these new inventions and the guys who are pushing new technology?
Okay, talking about diseases, I just saw a headline today about a spike in certain kinds of diseases in young people that never used to be the case.
Wow.
And so the scope of what we don't know as at this time keeps expanding. And this is why we need to be more careful than ever before. Now, technology is a good thing. Technology has been with man. There's always been ways to adapt to get things done, to be more efficient, to make things easier, and to do, to just take care of certain situation. But technology is not a silver bullet that can solve every problem. There are certain things technology would not be able to solve on its own. Because again, technology is not neutral. In today's world, it's also a way of making money. So capital detects what is promoted and what is easily available in the market and people can have access to. Technology is also very prominent in warfare. In today's world, the rich countries spend about $2 trillion on warfare every year. This is a big budget outlay, but you need about $100 billion to tackle global warming per year. You don't get it. For $2 trillion just for destruction, this is easy. Just like that, they get it. Because it's business, basically, to produce those weapons. It's business to test them on somebody. It's business to destroy some place, and they measure the effectiveness of destructive inventions. But when it comes to issue of global warming, of course, technology, if you talk briefly about, you mentioned about eating genetically engineered potato, God help you. Of course, we do eat those things without doing. Nigeria today, it's difficult to know what we're eating.
Exactly.
Because we have genetically modified beans in the market.
No.
So when you eat, in the US, it will be labeled. But in Nigeria, you cannot label akara. You can't label akamu. You can't label moi moi. You can't label those things. When somebody's roasting corn by the roadside, you can't label it that this is GMO corn.
Right.
This is why in Nigeria, so these things should never been allowed because we can't enforce the law. The law requires labeling. But how do you label in a cultural system?
Doctor, I don't want to be, I'm so sorry to talk over you. I don't want to believe that we can't enforce it. It's just that maybe, could it be that we don't want to, or it's easier not to, because we have the standard organizations of Nigeria and we have NAFDAC. Why can't we?
Please, okay, sorry, apologies for laughing, but, if you want to enforce labeling, one, there has to be mass education so that even the person selling akara by the roadside would have to put a sign that, look, I'm using genetically modified beans to make this akara. And of course, in the market, a lot of imported goods in the market, they have very fine print. If you really read, Nigerians hardly read the label about ingredients. Some of them are labeled as having genetically modified things, but people just buy them and they look at the label, what is it, and they buy it. They don't check what is inside it because they've known that product over time. They don't know that it's also evolving over time. But the issue is that most crops are genetically engineered to do two things. One is to be resistant to certain herbicides. So that if you plant the crops and then you can spray the farm with the chemical and everything except that crop will die. And so the crop alone will remain. Another one is to design the crops to act as pesticides. So when the pest eats it, the pest dies. And so if you're eating genetically modified beans that is meant to kill pests, you are actually eating a pesticide.
Hey.
And that's what Nigerians are eating, pesticide, clearly. That's the easiest way to explain it. Hey. So you're going to eat akara, you are eating pesticide. If because you don't know which is, and then we don't have a system of monitoring to know, are these crops really doing well in the market? Who is researching into them? Because the people who ought to research are also the ones promoting this technology. Now, when it comes to, I don't know why you're shaking your head.
I'm worried.
When it comes to engineering technology in terms of in terms of climate change. There's a lot of, there are quite a few of this coming up. And the problem with technology these days is that it's developing so fast and regulation is not able to catch up. Regulation is lagging. And normally there should be, there's a principle, the precautionary principle, which requires that where there's doubt, you should slow down or hold on and let's check. Where you should have moratorium on certain technologies. But almost anything goes today out there in the open. Now, for climate engineering, there's something called climate engineering, that's geoengineering, which means you could actually use technology to remove carbon from the atmosphere, carbon removal, carbon capture and storage. And so you have to build big facilities to try to suck the carbon either from the atmosphere or from factories that are polluting the environment. But how much of that can you do? That's the question. There are also technologies that would help, that you could use from aircraft or whatever to go up above the clouds and then seed the cloud, not seeding for rainfall, but you can whiten the clouds, make the clouds be white so that they can reflect more heat into the atmosphere. Or you could put some iron filings or other things in the ocean, large parts of the ocean, to trigger some growth, algae to grow, or some other things, seaweed or whatever, so that they can absorb carbon and maybe die and sink to the ocean bed. But all these things distort the natural cycles of nature. Because supposing you have a green mat or green weed across over half of the ocean, what are the fish?
Exactly.
What are the life forms in the ocean? What will happen to them? And so you solve one problem, you create another problem. And in fact, most of the climate engineering solutions cannot be done at a small scale. You have to do it at planetary scale, over a wide area, very big area. And then you have to do it in perpetuity. Because if you stop doing it after 20 years, after 50, after 100 years, then what you try to solve will kick in again, and maybe at a worse level. So the best thing to do is a simple thing. Nature can be very simple. We know the source of the problem is burning fossil fuels. Keep the oil in the soil. Keep the coal in the hole. And leave the gas where it is. And don't keep on burning what is burning up the planet. But because of the petrodollars and how sexy fossil fuels are, then of course governments and industry, they're hooked on it. And some people will say, well, we never really polluted so much in Africa or in the global south, the global north zero pollution. Now is our turn to pollute.
Wow, very funny.
The logic, that logic is a tragic kind of logic.
Yeah.
That is now our turn to pollute. But nevertheless, different zones, there must be justice. That's why the climate change negotiation recognizes common but differentiated responsibilities and capabilities. And so some should stop fossil faster than others. But you need to have a managed way of doing it so that we don't burn ourselves.
So it's staggered.
And, yes, we could if you really want to be very, I would say, what do I call it? Just about it. And then we're ready to suffer the consequences of doing what we're doing, even though we're doing it slowly. But otherwise, the best thing would be to just, because human beings have the capacity to change the mode of production of energy. But, the investment is needed, but it's not coming. And sometimes even the imagination, people will tell you that green energy cannot run industry, but it's not true. Green energy can run industry. Some industries are run on renewable energy with heavy machineries.
Yeah.
It's just that you have to establish the plan to supply that at scale. And then at the same time, you have to make sure that the green energy plants don't create injustices in communities.
Okay.
I just came from Togo, northern central Togo, where they have a big solar plant over an area of more than 100 hectares. And, we talk with the communities. What are you benefiting from it? What was the conservation? What did you get for your land being taken over for this and all that? And do you have the energy that's been produced? All these issues have to be considered, even when you go to green energy. Otherwise, you can go to green energy and you still have green colonialism.
Yes, and have injustices. I want to open up the phone lines. I want people to call in. Lagosians, the phone lines are open. I know you have questions, and some of you are environmental savvy. Please join the conversation. 0201 465 7190. You can call, send a message. If you are on Skype and you're listening to us from outside of the country, join us via Skype. It's Nigeria Info FM. Or you can send me a WhatsApp message. You can tweet at us on X. It's use the hashtag Hard Facts. It's Nigeria Info FM. Well, first question here for you, Doctor, says, please ask your guests if noise pollution is not one of the causes of the stubborn heat we're currently observing. That's a very funny one.
That's a very creative question, I would say. Noise pollution has its own part in making people uncomfortable. Maybe some people could get hot just hearing too much noise, but it's not part of why we're having the heat that we're having now.
Yeah, it's not deadly. Okay, let me take another one here. Someone says, please tell the guest that it's the ozone layer that absorbs ultraviolet radiation and not greenhouse gases such as CFCs or CO2s from human activities. Or didn't I hear him well? Chisco is asking you this one, Doctor.
I think there's always a mix-up about the ozone layer and greenhouse gases. They are two different things. The ozone layer keeps ultraviolet rays from coming to the earth. And since the Montreal Protocol, the world has really taken action on that. That's the first thing we saw on environmental measure. The world coming together and really changing the way things are being done. And, and the ozone layer is closing up. It's not expanding as far as I know. Is not expanding. So that is a battle that the world is winning. But the greenhouse gas layer in the atmosphere sends back radiation to the earth. And that is why the earth is getting warmer. It's getting hotter. It's burning.
Now what? I think I'm going to be awake again tonight, Doctor, because of some of the things that
it's good to awake because when you're awake, you think of creative things to share with your listeners.
All right, let's take some calls. Hello, welcome to Hard Facts.
Good evening, Maryann.
Good evening.
I sent an SMS message now. I asked about the noise pollution that we're having everywhere. That people are so flagrant. Everywhere you will see noise pollution. I asked if it's not, that was not part of the stubborn heat we're having. I didn't get the explanation of your guest.
You were not listening.
Boyerson from Afromedia, please.
Okay, Boyerson, thank you very much for calling. I think Doctor explained it, that yes, it can make you uncomfortable, but it's not responsible for the heat directly. So it's just, you can bring some level of discomfort, but it is not directly connected to what's happening or heating up the planet. 0201-465-7190. You could join the conversation via Skype. We're Nigeria Info FM on Skype, so go ahead and call us if you are listening to us from outside of the country. And if you want to send us a message on WhatsApp and you do not have the number, let me give it to you quickly so that you can be part of the conversation. On WhatsApp, it's 080-959-75805. That's 080-959-75805. Hello, welcome to Hard Facts.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening. Yes.
My name is Chris.
Chris, go ahead, please.
Okay. I want to ask Doctor, is this in line with religious saying that the time is, like as is written in the Bible, the end of time, or rather the new beginning? Do we have to marry the two together? Because things are getting out of hand, naturally.
Okay. All right, Chris. Thank you very much.
Well,
a little bit of superstition coming in here now.
Well, I think it's a good question. Thank you for bringing that up, the spiritual dimension. I wouldn't want to predict that the world is coming to an end. I think this is something that what is going on is something that certain humans have created, and certain humans can take action to curtail it. It's something that can be handled, but it's just that the powerful and the power blocks in the world don't want to do it. Up to 2009, certain countries were required to cut emissions at a certain level, or in voluntary mechanism, which is what is also in the Paris Agreement today. So nowadays, countries do more or less what is convenient for them to do, rather than what is required of them by law. And so rich countries don't want to take the action that they ought to take, except they think that what directly affects them. And even then, they think more of profit than anything else. So we need to campaign more for countries to take responsibility for what they've done and to help those who are vulnerable to survive the impacts.
I want to ask a question that's not necessarily Nigerian. Now, in England, there's a group that campaigns, and they campaign really crazy. They glue themselves to the streets. Sometimes they chain themselves to the streets. It's what are they called now? Stop Oil Now.
Extinction Rebellion.
Extinction Rebellion, and then there's Stop Oil Now too. They're crazy.
Yeah.
How do you not make people think of you as crazy while you're trying to pass the message that's going to save their lives? In 1 minute, let's see if you can respond to that.
Well, I don't glue myself to pipes or to streets. We're just having conversation with communities, seeking justice, supporting communities to litigate where necessary, and in fact, exposing the horrors. For example, the Aurora one well at Awoye has been burning for 4 years. It's burning for 4 years in the ocean, releasing tons and tons of greenhouse gas to the atmosphere. And here we are as a nation talking about climate action. What a shame.
It's a tough one.
This is an infomercial.
I'm just going to take one quick call, and then, of course, I'm going to let you go, Doctor, because our time is fast spent. Let me see if I can take a quick call here. Hello?
Hello, Maryann.
Yes, you have 40 seconds. Quickly, just go to the point.
Well, Doctor, my question is, this bombing that is happening between the Palestinians and the Israel.
Sorry?
You see, the bombing that is happening in Israel.
Okay.
Palestine. What is the effect to
the atmosphere?
Atmosphere, yeah.
All right. Thank you. Great question. I was going to ask that, of course. The war in Ukraine, what's happening in Palestine, does it have, an effect on the atmosphere?
It does, because the military, all those bomb jet fighters, they release a lot of greenhouse gases. They use a lot of fuels. They are causing destruction, not just on buildings and killing people. They're also affecting the climate.
Wow.
And the sad thing is that military emissions are not calculated for most countries when they are calculating their contribution to global warming. So the military system, especially for rich countries, are behaving like outlaws. They are climate criminals. And it's really what's happening in Palestine is totally abhorrent. What's happening in Ukraine is abhorrent. And war everywhere is destructive. Even in Nigeria, when are we going to clean up the military pollution?
That's a conversation you and I should have next time. Maybe we should talk about all these bombs that keep going off in Ikeja. Dr. Nnimmo Bassey, always a pleasure to have you on the show. I had a great conversation with you. Please come back again sometime soon.
Thank you so much. It was nice being with you.
All right. We'll take a quick break, and when we come back, I'll be wrapping up and saying my goodbye. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Every morning, now better chance to carry your hustle go higher level. So
99.3 Nigeria Info. We are more than just radio. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at Nigeria Info FM. Check us out on Facebook at Nigeria Info 99.3. Follow us on Twitter at Nigeria Info FM and on Instagram at Nigeria Info FM Lagos for live updates as it happens.